Hey guys, welcome to the very first episode of Uncommon Performance. Now, the premise behind this channel is going to be more or less vehicles that aren't popular in the racing community and seeing what we can do with them. First car that we have on the slab here is my personal daily driver. It is a 2011 Hyundai Sonata non-turbo. Now, I love this car. It is a fantastic car just the way it is. But we can't just leave it the way it is. We want it to be better. Faster, louder, more efficient? Probably. Maybe not. Not sure yet. We'll see. But so far, only things I've had done to this car are I have a intake on it. It's nothing spectacular. It's just a Mickey Mouse together Spectre from my work at the auto parts store that I work at. Probably paid $25 for all the parts, and I didn't even use all the parts in the package. This here is a GDI engine, so I didn't actually need all the parts because there is no mass airflow sensor. So I was able to hook the intake directly right up to the throttle body. And the other thing that I've done to this car so far is a catback exhaust that I assembled myself. Again, bought all the parts, put it all together, welded it up. Sounds great. For what it is, I'm not trying to say that it sounds better than like a Camaro that's, anywhere on the road. They sound great. This car, for what it is a Korean car, small 4-cylinder, and I was genuinely surprised at how well it actually sounded after Mickey Mousing together this Thrush exhaust. I got a Thrush glass pack and a Thrush muffler, and it actually sounds really good for what it is. A little throaty, but not too much of a drone. Not too bad. I like it. Within the next couple days, I'll be putting on order an OBX downpipe and header. So that'll bolt right up to the catback exhaust that I have on there currently. I'm also, on that same day, I'll be placing an order for a front lip for this car. A couple of spoilers, just a window one and then one that goes on the trunk. Nothing major. I'm not trying to make this a super fast race car or anything. This is my daily driver. Down the road, we may see what happens. I'm not sure yet. But this car is uncommon in the racing community, especially because it has a non-turbo engine in it. And I mean, there is a turbo kit for this car. Right now, that's a little outside my price range. It is around $4 or $5 grand, depending on where you are, where you get it, who you get to put it in. But it's basically a full bolt-on. Comes with everything you need, minus the tune, obviously. But that's for another episode. Today we're just focusing on day one and this car at its current state. So you'll see in a second when I pull out on the road here what it sounds like. And that's with the windows up. So it's not too bad. Sounds pretty good. It's a little throaty, which is actually kind of surprising. Very surprised by that. Doesn't have that tinny sound at all. It's pretty solid, but it could be better. There is always room for improvement. I want to see what I can do with this car. There is a paint scheme I have in mind. We'll find out about that at a different time. Not sure if you guys can hear me or not, but I wanted to see if I could get the sound of the exhaust with the windows open for a second from first gear. So I just wanted to... It's not too bad. Now, yeah, that's squeaking. I completely spaced on when I was doing my brakes. I didn't put brake grease on the installation hardware. That's just a dumb mistake on my part. But I'll get that done in the next week or so. It doesn't really bother me all that much. Most of the time I got my radio up or The exhaust covers the sound of it anyway. But it's not bad. I like it. Alright, I'm back. Sorry about that. Just felt feeling a little famished. I need to swing in and grab something to eat. So anyways, like I was saying, the brakes, those are going to get fixed probably within the next week or so. I am getting sick of the sound. It's not that hard of a thing to do, but I do have a full-time job. And I'm not just a regular person down there. I am the assistant manager at the place, so I kind of have the obligation to be there when I don't want to be sometimes. More or less, I mean, I love my job. I love what I do. Fantastic discount. It's a great company to work for. But I do wish I had some more time off. A little bit more about myself. Just turned 30. About to be married in about 3 weeks to an amazing woman who is okay with me working on my car like this. She's not interested in any of it, but she's not upset about any of it. I've got 3 kids, none of which live with me, but I talk with them every day. Excuse me. This is cruising around at 40 miles an hour. In drive. This is an automatic. Wish it was a standard. That's also a whole nother option for another episode. It's not much drone. Hello, officer. It's about 2,000 RPMs. This car is fun. It's pretty quick for what it is. It's not by any means a sports car. It comes from the factory with 190 roughly horsepower. This is the partial zero emissions option. So it's got the 10 less horsepower than the ultra super low emissions vehicle option. I've never had it dynoed. That's something I can look at as also at another episode in the future. That'll probably be one of my favorite episodes. I do use this app called Command something or other. I can't remember what it is right now. I'll put the link down in the description. It's an Android app. I'm not sure if it's on iPhone. I also, in conjunction with that, I also have what is called a Bluetooth OBD2 plug. Something like that. It plugs right into my OBD2 connector. I leave it there. It stays there all day, every day. Unless, obviously, I need it in a different vehicle. And it connects to that application I have on my phone, which lets me read the air-fuel ratios, intake air temperatures. Anyways, it also allows me to monitor a lot more than just the factory gauges on my dashboard. Also without having all the other gauges that I want to eventually put in. I'll put the windows up. Just haven't had the time or money, to be honest. But it is something that allows me to also measure rough horsepower estimates. I've got to type in the drag coefficient. I got to type in the approximate weight of the vehicle with myself in the car, and I don't know if you can tell or not, but I am not little. I don't know the actual weight of this car. I haven't ever tested the weight of this car, but I will say that the number that I've achieved consistently with that application, around 210, and that's after the intake and the exhaust. Again, there's no other power adders or anything. This car is basically bone stock besides those two things and the set of wheels that I have on it. I'll put those in a later spot in the video and you'll be able to see those. They're off of a 2013 Ford Mustang GT. Factory wheels, nothing aftermarket or anything. But they're pretty nice. They make this car look really nice, and they're only stock wheels. I also was able to squeeze two 45/40s around the rims and into the wheel wells with zero rub. They're 18-inch rims, so two 45/40 18s. They are huge, to say the least. This car handles like it's on railroad tracks, and I've done no suspension adders. The only really upgrade I've ever done is upgrading to a set of Wagner brake pads. So it's not much. Up front I got Michelin Pilot Sports that are just about shot. The rear, there's two different Pirellis. I got a Pirelli P0 on my driver's side, and I got a Pirelli P6, I think, on the other side. I wasn't going to complain. The rims came with a set of tires that were too big for my car, and I found a guy down in Rhode Island that would just even trade me the wheels, and he even mounted and balanced the new tires onto the wheels. So I'm not complaining. It's whatever. I plan on getting probably P0s all the way around. I like the tire. It's got an aggressive tread, but it also has a lot of journals for water escaping, and it's just a great all-around tire, and I love it so far. And I know a few people that run them, and again, it's just a fantastic tire. But anyways, I'm veering off here. So more about this car. It is a 2.4 liter 4-cylinder automatic transmission. The transmission I actually had to replace recently. It crapped out on me because of my anger issues, and just a whole nother situation that was easily avoidable, but because sometimes I get a little angry at people, I destroyed my transmission. Also, a set of tires destroyed that day. Whoops. I'm sorry. Let me turn that off real quick. That beeping literally doesn't even faze me anymore. Keep reminding me in the comments if I keep forgetting about that. Remind me, and eventually, hopefully, my brain will click in and remember. Just put your flipping seatbelt on when you get in the car. Not only is it legal, but it's safer. Duh. Anyways, there I go again. You'll notice I do that a lot. There are a lot of suspension upgrades for this car that are available. There are a lot of, not really a lot, but there are some engine upgrades available for this car. Because it's the non-turbo and it's not the SE model, so it does not have the sport suspension. So there's even less options for this one. This literally is the bottom of the barrel. If these cars came with roll-up windows, mine would have roll-up windows. Now, I'm not complaining about that. It's a trend I'm noticing with myself. And it's exactly the reason why I created this channel. Because for some reason, every single car I've ever owned was a car that isn't in any kind of shows or anything, really. The closest thing I've ever had to anything that would have been like a common, whatever you want to call it, modifiable car was my 99 Honda Accord. That car was the biggest pile of crap I've ever owned. I was not investing money into that. I paid $1,000. I didn't even pay $1,000. It was $960 or something like that. And I drove it for about a year. And so many things were bad on it. And I didn't really care. This car is the first car I've ever owned that I've been able to work on and actually starting to be able to put some decent money into it. Mainly because there are actually things available. Granted, I have to order them straight from Korea, and they take about a month to get here, but they do exist. Just about every other car I've ever owned, I've had to make everything. And as you probably know, when you're making things, it doesn't really cost that much, except for time, research and development, and cardboard intakes. Yes, I know, but it happens. So I do have a lot of plans for this car. This car is going to be in the family probably for a long time. I don't foresee getting rid of it. I want to go in the direction of autocross with this one. Again, like I was saying, there's a lot of suspension upgrades, and if I get that turbo kit that I was talking about, it should give me around 300 horsepower, give or take, and that's, I think that's at the wheels. I'm not 100% sure. I'll have to double check my research on that. But that's the direction I want to go with this car. I've been mulling over this crazy idea that's absolutely batty. In the future when I get another car, and that will be my daily. This turned into my race car. I may or may not do a motor swap and probably a drivetrain depending on the vehicle I get it out of. I've been thinking maybe a rear-wheel drive swap with a 2JZ, STI drivetrain and engine swap, maybe. It is a fairly large car, so I'd have to really figure something out. But again, that's all in the future. Maybe you guys could help me come up with something realistic. I don't want to put a 572 Chevy engine in here with four-wheel drive, because not only would it not fit, it would tear the car to pieces. So it's got to be something realistic. Probably not bigger than a 6-cylinder. Maybe rear-wheel drive, possibly four-wheel drive. I'm not a fan of front-wheel drive, and that's what this is currently. So I would like to change that, and the four-wheel drive would be great for doing autocross. So, what this channel is going to be about. This channel is going to be mainly build videos. Me and my father-in-law right now are currently in the process of tearing apart and rebuilding an 85 Goldwing. I may or may not include that into this. I might just touch on it a couple of times. It's not supposed to be something that's going to be like a performance anything. It's more or less just a restoration. For him, it's a fun little project, but I'm not sure if I'm going to have it on here. This isn't going to be what the video is about all the time. I may have a few minutes here, a few minutes there of talking and explaining things, but it's going to be mostly about the build, about working with the car, what cars and whatnot, some things that some people can do with uncommon cars. Alright, well, I think that's going to be it for today. This may not be a very long video. I'm not sure how much of it I'm going to cut out. But I did just arrive at work, and I need to go inside. So without any more hesitation, go ahead and like and subscribe down the bottom. Leave a comment if you like. If you think I'm terrible at my job, if you think I'm maybe good at it, let me know. Also, I've been trying to come up with a name for this car for like ever. And everything I've seen from every other YouTube channel is when somebody asks their audience to come up with a name for this car, it usually works out fantastic. So I'm gonna leave that on you guys. If you want to, leave a comment what you think the car could be named, and I will leave you off with a walk around.